Losing to the Knicks, feels like death.
Yo, welcome to the show where the energy's flown. It's your boy dropping heat. This is the Ozone. Step into the arena where legends are made. From the courts to the fields, watch the highlights played. Football, hoops, baseball, it's all fair game. If it's sports, we bring the fire, put respect on the name. Stats and debates, we break it all down. From the rookies to the GOATs who wear the crown. No halftime, all grind, we're setting the tone. It's prime time, baby, you're in the Ozone. Yo, it's passion, precision, the plays we dissect. From the underdogs, grinding to the Hall of Fame vets. This is more than a podcast, it's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right, welcome to the Ozone.
You have entered the Ozone with Omar and Dave.
Let's go! Baby, we are here. And you know who's not here? The Boston Celtics, and they ain't care cold. But you guys are here. You guys have officially entered the Ozone. It's your boy O. And I'm excited. I'm under the weather. You can probably hear it in my voice. No, I didn't lose my voice because of the Knicks. Because that would be something that you can say, yeah, I wouldn't blame you if you guys all thought that. But I've been feeling under the weather. Came back from New York last week, feeling a little under the weather. Almost got kicked out of the JetBlue flight because I was watching Game 4 in the flight. I almost got left off in Kentucky because I was wilding. Because the Knicks were wilding. And that was before Jason Tatum got hurt. Let me just put that as a disclaimer. But the Knicks get the job done. The Knicks put all the critics to bed. And now there's a familiar foe we need to get payback on. There's a lot to unpack on this show, guys. We got the Subway Series. New York is on fire. And let's talk about it. But you know I can't talk about it without my co-host, my brother, super producer Dave. Brother, now you're in New York. You're in the heat. It's a new week. How are we feeling?
Brother, I am feeling good. I mean, what more can we say? Right now, the Yankees and Mets, they went 1-1. It's the series that we actually ended up wanting to see, like the way it's playing out. I'm okay with it going back and forth. And then the Knicks, baby, the Knicks. You know what? I need to make. I gotta find an audio for the Knicks. Just Knicks, baby. I love the Knicks. Love the Knicks.
I love the Knicks. Well, you know what?
But it's been good, bro. And I think let's not waste any more time. The fans want it.
Guys,
let's go into it.
Let's get into it on This Week in Knicks.
This week in Knicks.
All right, y'all. This Week in Knicks playoff edition. As I said, we open this show. The Knicks were 0-4. 0-4 in the regular season against the mighty Celtics. Everyone ruled us out. Everyone was praying to whomever they pray to that we win one game. We didn't win one. We didn't win two. We didn't even win three. We won 4 games against these bums. And I can talk spicy because we won. Brother, we closed them out. We send the Celtics packing. Initial thoughts before we really dive into the series. What's just your initial thoughts and feelings as the Knicks send Boston to Cancun and reach the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000? I was 11 years old last time the Knicks made the Eastern Conference Finals. It's been a very long time.
Brother, my initial thoughts is I called it. Knicks in 6. I said this 2 weeks ago. I was ready for this. And yes, we're fans, so we're always going to think that our team has a chance, but we're also realists, and we will say, like, hey, Boston was a tough matchup coming into this. So I am absolutely ecstatic of what the Knicks ended up doing. It's unfortunate about other stuff that played out during this series, but at the end of the day, you play what's in front of you. And the Knicks did what they had to do. Some concerns still, but at the end of the day, I am ecstatic because I called it.
Right now, obviously, when we were previewing this series, I set my mind, you go with your heart or you go with your mind. Obviously, they always say you don't ever bet with your heart. Don't, in sports, you got to go with your mind. And obviously, my mind told me Celtics in 6 because you're looking at just how we fared against them during the season, yes, that last meeting was almost, and I'm not trying to be petty, brother. It was a familiar, and a lot of radio stations did bring it up. It did feel like Patriots Giants in 2007, that last game of the season that meant nothing, but it kind of showed the Giants like, yeah, you can hang with these guys. Like, they
It
were the
was a
superior
blueprint.
team, but it's like, bro, they're human, right? So that last game gave me some optimism going into the series. However, not enough where my mind told me, okay, Knicks. My heart told me Knicks in 7 because it just felt like, that narrative. That narrative was so driven. Every point that they could, with ESPN and TNT, that the Knicks couldn't beat the big teams. Even when the Lakers, they even tried to squeeze the Lakers in once the Lakers started playing well and they became, I think, the second seed in the West. Then they added to it, like, oh, now the Knicks are 0-12, and it's like, wait a minute, now you're adding, but you're not subtracting when Houston was the number 2 seed. You know what I mean? So it just always felt like that was the narrative, and then you know what I mean. And then you get game one, and you're looking at it, and it's like, and I know we went over it last week, but you look at game one, you're down 20, but then you see the fight. You see the fight in these guys, and we get the win, and you're like, okay, wait a minute, something feels different. Now you get the narrative of, oh, was an anomaly. Oh, the Boston Celtics, oh, they're never gonna play like this again. Bam, happens game two. Same thing. And now you go, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Now we just need to win 2 out of 5. Now it's possible.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
2 out of 5 with 3 of those 5 games being at the crib in Madison Square Garden. Now the optimism now is really starting to reveal itself even more. And we get game 3 in last week's episode. We did cover game 3. Game 3 was that punch in the face that we thought, you and I both agreed, that we thought we would see in game 2. Which we didn't. But the Knicks came back game 4. Sorry, guys, I am under the weather. Go ahead, brother.
So, like Omar was saying, that game four ends up happening, and unfortunately, and this is very unfortunate. This is me speaking from my heart. It's unfortunate that Jason Tatum got hurt. And the reason why I say that, and not just because, like, I'm not a Jason Tatum fan, it's the fact is that you want to play them at full strength because you don't want the excuses. And also, you don't want to see a guy get hurt. Like, there are players that, honestly, I can say that I don't like and I don't want to see them on the field. But Jason Tatum's not one of those people that I was just like, I want him out. So, Jason Tatum goes down, and then, all right, we win the game. But then you also have the feeling was that, well, the Knicks are going to win it in 5. And Boston did something that just kind of just reminds you, like, hey, some good teams know how to play when their star is not there. And Boston has won many games this season without Jason Tatum on the floor. I think the record was something 15-2 or something around along those lines. I don't have the stats in front of me, but they played really well without Tatum when he wasn't on the court this year. So they know how to play. Plus, they are live by the 3, die by the 3. And that game, they lived by the
But
3,
you know
and they
what, brother?
blew
It's
us out in game
context
5.
to what you say. To numbers,
Of
not to what
course,
you
go
said, my
ahead.
bad. To the numbers, right? Cause, and we all know, we all saw as Knicks fans, Brian Windhorst has been a bit,
A
he's
hater.
done a very poor job trying to be objective. Let's just put it at that. He was drilling the 8-2 record that the Celtics had during Tatum's absence. But he failed to include that in that absence, those 8-2, they played Detroit twice in December. So this is before the turnover of their season. They played Washington. They played Brooklyn. I believe one of them was Utah. So it was like, oh, and they played Orlando. And those Orlando games were without Paolo and Franz Wagner.
Paulo.
So it's like, it's the context of like, okay, like, yeah, they're 8-2. And this is the thing. This is the thing that really got me with this series, because now you're seeing it now that the series is over, is the narrative that the Knicks beat a hurt Celtics team. I'll acknowledge this, and this is why I felt a little optimistic in the beginning of the series, and I had told you, bro, we said it on the show, Jaylen Brown's knee didn't look right in the last regular season meeting, and I mentioned that he doesn't look right. He didn't play, I believe, the whole fourth quarter of that game, so I felt that was a little advantage that we had. And now, and this is so petty, bro. Now he came out, literally, it's not a coincidence, the day after they get eliminated, that he has a partially torn meniscus.
And here's the problem with this, right? We knew coming into the series because we saw what he played like in the round before. We knew that Jaylen Brown was hurt. And coming into the series, we had mentioned it. If you want to go back and watch 2 weeks ago, I mentioned Jaylen Brown. We knew was hurt coming into this Knicks series. The problem is that he ended up playing well throughout the series. So don't bring up that, now this torn meniscus thing is an issue because guess what? He still played great. It's an excuse at this point, and I get it. Yeah, he wasn't at full 100%, but that if you had won, was that had been the excuse still? No, you wouldn't bring it up. You'd just be like, "Oh, it was the torn meniscus." You can't use it. You can't have it both ways. I'm sorry.
And I want to
So,
add to that. I want to add to that, bro,
I,
because this is my thing when it comes to that, right? Is when the Celtics won game 5, we had the game under control in game 4. Like, let's just be honest. Like, he got hurt with a little over 3 minutes to go. The Knicks were up by 9. They get the steal, Anunoby by 9. Yes, was he having a good game? 100%. I believe he had like 40, 41. However, he did miss his few shots before the injury, and you can just tell the momentum had already shifted to New York. So I don't want to hear that. But you mentioned one thing that they were already hyped. Game 5, they were already hyped. So it was like, now you want to use the excuse of injuries?
so we end up having Game 6, and Game 6, at some point, it was just that's it. We knew what was going to be the outcome of this game. The Knicks were gonna put their foot down on the pedal, and I don't care that I curse. I will bleep that. They
Family
put their
show,
foot
family
down on
show,
the
family
pedal, and
show.
they just never let go. Family show, whatever. But at the end of the day, they just kept on going because at the end of the day, number one, I don't like when the Knicks let teams hang around. This was not the game to do that because we wanted to close it out, especially in the Garden. And they just did it. And I'm sorry about all the injuries that got you there, but guess what? I don't care because you're Boston. I don't like you like that. I only like the New England Patriots, and I don't associate them with Boston as much as everybody else does. I just don't care. And guess what? Now the Knicks are in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we're gonna see a familiar foe who benefited a lot from a lot of injured teams last year and this year. So
And that's the thing,
let's see how this shakes
is
up this
that
year.
the way this series has been covered, speaking Knicks Celtics, it's very it was more of what the Celtics were not doing as opposed to what the Knicks were doing. And my thing is like, yeah, I understand they blew 2 20-point leads. You also have to take advantage of it, you know. And we've
Right.
said that, and I've been saying that about the Pacers. Have the Pacers had a lot of their success because they've played unhealthy teams? 100%. You cannot get me to think otherwise. However, you still have to capitalize on that. And they did, and I'll give them credit for that. And the Knicks did the same thing. The Knicks took advantage of their poor shooting, their, I don't even want to call it like a discipline, Celtics lack of discipline. No, their arrogance that we're going to just continue to chuck threes no matter if they're making them or not. And this is the thing, and I want to come at you Boston fans, whomever is watching us that root for Boston or from Boston or whatever. And I've referenced this a while ago. There's a famous CM Punk promo, brother, with John Cena, where he referenced John Cena like, yeah, you want to act like you're the little engine that could. You're the Boston. But no, you've become the Yankees. You've become the model. The way you walk, you're arrogant. And that's the way these Celtics fans are now. Boston, you're not the little town. You're not the underdog. You come in here with this arrogance. And this is where it's so hypocritical. Because if I went to Yankee Stadium right now and had an argument with a Boston Red Sox fan, and I go 27 rings, right? Their argument is going to be, well, you won them rings years ago, and most of them were when guys played construction and they played baseball in their spare time. Well, you know what, Celtics? Let's just be honest. You're 18 rings, goddamn, maybe 14, 15 of them, or when it was like 10 teams in the league. Guys are doing construction and playing basketball on their spare time. You're one of the most overrated franchises in all of sports. You won in 2008 and you won last year. Let's not forget, a lot of Knicks fans are in their 20s probably don't hate the Celtics as much because you guys were ass in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like, you had a little run in the 80s. So it's like, don't act like, I'm going to be honest, I would give the Lakers more credit because you know why? The Lakers have always been good. I can't recall when the time where I could say that like the Lakers were straight trash. Yeah, maybe Kobe's down years in the beginning. Uh, yeah,
The
like
2010s,
right
the
after a
2010s,
run
I think,
when
was
they
when the
won a couple
Lakers.
championships. But it's like the Celtics is one of the most overrated franchises. And the crazy part is that they like to use the 18 rings, but they hate when that argument is used against them in baseball. Because the difference is you have Yankee fans that they may not be you have like Knicks fans that may not be Yankee fans. They can be Met fans. But for the most part, Celtics fans are Red Sox fans. For the most part. I think it's fair to say, brother. So it's like you're
For
using
the
that
most part.
argument, the same argument you hate when Yankee fans use it against you. So, and now they're using the, oh, well, enjoy. We don't have no rings. Wow, you guys celebrate, and I want to talk about this before we get into the Pacers series. Wow, you guys are celebrating like you guys won the championship. Bro, why you mad? Why you mad? Let us do that. Let us.
But here's another point. Here's another point to this before, and I also want to cover the coverage of like everything that happened downtown with that. I know that's something that we wanted to talk about, but something with the Celtics team that just happened to win a championship last year. Great, you got it. You are this close to blowing it all up. And guess what? Next year, good luck putting everything together with all the money that's owed. That's why that team was being sold. So we know that the Celtics will not look the same next year. So you are this close to having it all blow up. You're just happy. You're just lucky to have played the Mavs in the championship game. Because had you played a better team, you wouldn't have had that championship, and there's nothing to fall back on. This team was the underdog for the
And
longest
I'll say
until they
this
won
is
that
the second
championship.
time that the Knicks will have blown up a Boston Celtics team. And when this happened in 2013, we beat them in 6 games. The following year, Poor Pierce, and I think that's why Poor Pierce is still salty. Boy, I was just reading it the other day. Poor Pierce was 200 points away from being an all-time Celtics scorer. And they shipped his ass to Brooklyn with Kevin Garnett. And it looks like the same because that was already going to be something talked about already about having to dump some contracts because they're already well above the second apron, new ownership. Don't know if you want to pay that luxury tax. And then now with Jason Tatum being out, potentially going to miss all of next year, and the Knicks doing what they did, definitely is accelerating that process. Um, but the whole
Yep.
celebration thing, brother, like I hate that saying where it's like, "Oh, act like you've been there before." I hate it because you know why? We
We have
haven't.
it.
We haven't. Like, and then there was a tweet, and I archived it, and I want to give her credit, and if I don't, I'm sorry, but I didn't. I definitely didn't come up with it, and I didn't archive it. There was a one of the on the Knicks Twitter was a female that she actually tweeted. She's like, "Yo, when the Cubs were making their run in 2016, the whole baseball world was behind it. Like the way baseball covered Fox, all all the national, it's like they covered it because they know they haven't won in so long. Even the Red Sox, when the Red Sox beat the Yankees in '04, like you could tell like MLB was pulling for the Red Sox because they haven't won in so long. Detroit Lions, the same thing right now with the Lions. The NFL is like everybody's in love. Oh, they haven't won in so long. So how come when it comes to us, we don't get that? Any other fan base that would have been acting like that, Detroit, if they Detroit Lions would have made the Super Bowl, and their fans are acting crazy like that in Detroit. Wow, they deserve it. They struggle. They deserve. Why are we not getting that? We're getting the why y'all celebrating the second? Why y'all celebrating exit in the second round? Why are you mad? Why can't you be happy? Like, you know what I'm
It's
saying? Like, that's my thing. Like, why are you mad? Why are you mad?
my thing is even if you're not like, okay, let's say if you're consistent, right? You say that every time that this happens with other sports teams and fans and the way that they act, be consistent, right? Because there are too many times that we'll see college teams, when these teams win, these people will wreck their city. We've seen what the Eagles fans look like after the Super Bowl. So how come is it that, like, once
It's
again
a
the
double
Knicks, and I get it,
standard.
it's still the
It's a
Eastern
double
Conference
standard,
Finals.
though.
It is a double standard. Now I get it. It is the Eastern Conference Finals, but this is the
Bro, but
furthest the
we
Knicks
ain't
have
been there in
gotten in a very long
25
time.
years. Like, there are grown adults that never seen
So
this,
it's like,
brother.
right. So you have to at least let them celebrate that kind of win. Now, if we make it to the championship game, I'm sorry, New York City's going to be on fire, but a really good fire. Look at the last time the Yankees won the World Series and how much that parade was, how awesome. You and I were there. That parade was
And
amazing. The
mind you,
city
that
was
was only
alive.
9 years.
And the
I will ask
Giants.
this because we do have an older audience that watch us as well. I was 7
Yes.
years old, so I can't recall the full details. But you can look at documentaries. When the Yankees won in 1996, the city was up ablaze because they went so long. It was the drought from 78 to 96. And mind you, that's only 18 years. And it was up ablaze. Like, Yankee, you watch when Joe Girardi hits the triple in game six, how it's shaking. So it's like the Knicks haven't made a conference final since 2000. The Knicks haven't closed out a series in Madison Square Garden since 1999. Game six, Eastern Conference against the Pacers. Give us that. Let us enjoy that. Why is that being criticized? Why does it have to be like, oh, like this? When Toronto had their run, they gloated about the Jurassic Park because that's what they had called their viewing area, Jurassic Park. You never heard anything of, wow, they're celebrating when Kawhi hit the game winner where they beat Philly. Y'all didn't go out here and be like, oh, why y'all celebrating? Y'all only made the Eastern Conference. But with the Knicks, it gets you know what I mean? Like, it's just, and look, I will say this because us being in Florida, I know I'm talking a lot, brother, and I'm gonna let you talk. But
Yeah, Thor.
I will say this though. Side Talk NYC, shout out to them. They made a quick video. Um, I will say this though. There is a portion of those fans that are on 7th Avenue that are not Knicks fans. And I have no problem saying that.
No.
They don't represent they don't
They just
represent the
want to be
core
viral.
Knicks fans. Right. Those are the same guys that were trying to get viral moments in game 5 when we lost. They're not us. I definitely in the ozone. I think it's safe to say that I can put Dave with us. We don't condone that. They're definitely not.
No.
They're not us. They're not
Um
like us.
I'm for the fans celebrating, shutting down 7th Avenue and in front of the Garden, and as crazy as it's going to be. And I'd love to be, I'm planning to be there this Wednesday as we get into the game one of the Pacers game. My only thing when it comes to the celebrations, and it's consistent across all sports, vandalism is the only where I draw it. As long as businesses aren't being ruined, and I'm not defending corporations. It's just regular people work there. Somebody's dad, somebody's uncle has to replace that glass that you break, or the crazy stuff that ends up happening, cars flipping over. As long as you're not doing that and you're just having a fun time in the city and celebrating, do you? That's all I care. I don't condone the craziness. I don't condone the guys pouring honey on themselves. Like, that's
That
just
made no
ridiculous.
sense. You want to get into what did happen in one of these things? And look,
Let's cover it.
here at the Ozone, we don't condone any violence, and I'm being serious. We don't condone any violence or harassment. However, one, I can't lie, this video was super funny because it's so New York. It is so New York. So Dave has the video playing right now of a fan that was very bold, and this is I'm gonna say this. He had it coming, and like I said, we don't condone it, but you know what you're doing. He knew exactly what he was doing when he got dressed that day. Well, a fan wore Tyrese Halliburton jersey and elected to go to the 7th Avenue Knicks watch watch block party. Knicks beat the Celtics, as we know, as we touched on. And the fans, some of the fans are gracefully, I would say, cutting his ass, as they would say. It didn't look like it was anything where I'm gonna be honest. It didn't look like the guy's life was being threatened. To me, but they throw a bag of garbage, and that
Yo, sanitation's gonna give him a
so
call.
New York though. Like to pick up a bag of garbage and hit it with him, and then you see the juice come out the bag, and then another guy follows up, swinging the garbage bag like a chair shot. Like I said, we don't condone it, but I will say this. That guy who wore the jersey knew exactly he wanted that. He knew that. Like, and this is why I have my jersey rule. I've always said that. Like, if why would you like me living in Miami, right? If Miami has a viewing party and they're playing, they're playing the Celtics and they just want to play us, the Knicks, in the conference final. I'm not wearing the one. I'm not even gonna be there. That's one. Secondly, if I was there, I'm not wearing Knicks gear because you're just calling for that unnecessary
You
attention. Why would you do that? Yeah,
win
win
or
or
lose,
lose.
you don't want to be
Whatever.
there.
He called for that. He knew that. I'm sorry, like he didn't deserve it. And like I said, I will continue to say it. Here at those on, we don't condone it. However, that man knew what he was doing when he got dressed that day. That's all I'll say.
I'll leave it before we move on. It's just something that we, as New Yorkers, we are very aware of our situations and where we're getting ourselves into. Me and you, Omar, we grew up in the Bronx, South Bronx particularly. We knew what areas to walk at what time and where do we go, what colors we can wear. There's just situational awareness of things that you just don't do. That is one of those situations with sports that you just don't do. And I get it. Like, if you people want to say that, oh, it shouldn't come to that, it shouldn't resort to violence, blah, 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 blah. Yes, we get that. We don't condone it. But the fact is that we also know not to do it. We're not going to show up in somewhere that we're not wanted and to antagonize. There was no reason for that kid to be there. That's it.
And we don't know the
So,
details. We don't know if my man was
maybe
having a big mouth. We don't know that. We just see the video of him getting hit with
we
a
don't
trash
know.
can, with not a trash can, a bag of garbage.
And he looked like he was
Yes,
talking as he
yes.
was walking back.
So now you got the Indiana
So
guys, Pat McAfee, like, oh, find this information or whatever. So, like I said, we don't condone it.
well,
We
let's
don't
actually
condone
cover
it, but it was
Indiana.
funny. But brother, we are now in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we are facing a familiar foe. We are facing the Indiana Pacers, who we played last year in the Eastern Conference semis, where Indiana did beat us in 7 games, and I believe they won Game 7 by 21. Now, let's get into the context of that series. The Knicks went into that series losing Mitchell Robinson, who was hurt on a dirty play by Joel Embiid, who is currently still facing the karma of that right now. Bojan Bogdanovic at the time, who was on the Knicks roster, rolled his ankle and basically he was out for that series. We've already went in without Julius Randle. OG Anunoby pulls his quad or strains his quad in game 2 while we were up 1-0. So we did take a 2-0 lead when he gets hurt. Um, the Knicks were broken down in that series. But as I touched on earlier, you still have to take advantage of it. And I'll give Indiana credit for that. They did take advantage of it. However, this year is very different. One, the Knicks are healthy. And two, the Knicks have a Karl Anthony Towns and a Mikal Bridges. And you look at what our lineup was going into the Indiana series last year when Anunoby went down. I believe it was Brunson, Dante, Josh Hart, Hartenstein, and I want to say I don't know if Deuce started. I want to say there was games where Deuce started and then Precious started. I can't,
Precious was definitely playing a lot. I
but
remember that.
I would much rather take Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, and Karl Anthony Towns. So this series right here is going to be tough, and I think The Knicks obviously had the far most toughest road than Indiana has. In every series, I think the Knicks developed something. The Knicks, it was a physical series in round one, and it prepared them to be physical for Boston. And then Boston was a mental thing. It was being able to psych yourself into, hey, we can play with these guys. Disregard the 0-4 record during the season. We can hang with these guys. You know what I mean? The distractions and of you guys not being picked to win. You guys not getting credit for your wins within the series. And now you have Indiana. And I think, brother, I think we're the favorites. And people around the media, I think, are gonna say we're the favorites because they would love for them to say they're favorites. So then, if Indiana knocks us out, they can enjoy it. This series here, I want the Knicks to kill them. As simple as that. I want payback. I rooted for Indiana during the Cleveland series, and it's not because I was scared of Cleveland. It's because I know for a fact OG Anunoby is not hurt last year. That series is over in 5 games. We would have went up 3-0 if it wasn't for a Heath 3-pointer from Hart. We would have been up 3-0, and that game was played without OG Anunoby. Guys broke down. The Knicks broke down. Hart got an abdominal strain, I believe, in Game 5 or Game 6. Jalen Brunson breaks his hand in Game 7. This is very different. Yeah, Indiana's going to be tough. But I want to kill him.
I mean, Indiana had a all right. So we went 2-1 against them because we played them 3 games during the season, and once again, the season record is a wash once you get into the playoffs. So let's go into the playoffs. Indiana first started against the Bucks. Well, what did the Bucks have? Well, just Giannis, and that's it. I think it was literally a 5-on-1 series because Dame
Dame
was
missed
out
game
and
one.
the Bucks
Dame
were
missed game one. And I believe he tore his Achilles in Game 3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
right. And mind you, Dame was coming back from a blood clot
Right, so it's
issue,
not
so
like he
it's not like
came
he was
back 100%.
100% too. So if we want to use context and we want to give credit to the Celtics because they lost Jason Tatum because of injury, then we're going to do the same thing for the Bucks. And the Bucks weren't healthy completely, and Pacers took advantage of that. And then guess what? They go on to play Cavaliers, and guess what? They weren't healthy, and they weren't able to compete at full strength. So Indiana has had an easier road to get there. Now you get to play against a Knicks team that is healthy, and I'm still watching Brunson's ankle, but it clearly shows that he can play on it. He has not shown any signs that he's not going to be able to
Right.
play
Look,
the
guys
way
are
he's been
hurt.
playing
Guys are
throughout this
hurt.
series.
100%. Guys are
It's the
hurt.
playoffs.
Every
In
team
every
right now,
sports, guys are
everybody's
hurt.
hurt. Right now, as of our recording,
So
I'm watching Game 7, Denver, OKC. Aaron Gordon I don't know how Aaron Gordon is playing right now. Because Aaron Gordon has
right,
basically a partially torn quad or something like that. But everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt. You know what I mean? And I just think, and I know they have the depth. I know they have, Indiana didn't have Matherin last year. I understand that, and he's available this year. They have TJ McConnell, who's gonna give fits. Obi Toppin sometimes he can go off on a couple threes.
right, and there's a little
Yeah, of
like
course.
revenge for
But
him in this series again.
I just know Brunson and these guys want their smoke so bad that the Knicks are gonna have this I don't know, this energy, this drive to want to kill him, just like the fans do.
And there is another context to this. Maybe they play off it really well because they were in the WWE thing. Halliburton and Burton Brunson. There's so many layers to this. The USA games, with Paris, he was
Right, the
Halliburton was selected
snub,
over
right?
Brunson,
Brunson
so
snub, yep.
Brunson's gonna put I. So Brunson, I feel like, is gonna put on a show like, all right, cool, you want to go medal, but you really didn't do anything for it. Let me show the world why I am a better player than you. The other thing is that there's things that we want to look for in this matchup, and some things that are concerning for the Knicks to just watch out for. And I know, like, they're the Knicks, they already watched this, but one, the Pacers are fast paced. We already know that. That's the kind of style that they are. They also are just like the Celtics. They're gonna chuck a lot of threes. And the other thing that's very important, and this is where Wingstop is going to really be, important for us, is Halliburton and Siakam are the things that we want to watch out for. Those two guys, you don't want to let them get hot. Now, I think the defense has improved during this playoffs to show us that they can do it, but those are my concerns coming into this. Those three things. Mute.
I kind of like the way we match up with them. I know they possess some
Yeah,
issues, but their lineup is Halliburton, Nimhart, Neesmith, Siakam, and Turner. And I think Mikel was guarding Halliburton. I think that's a given. I would put Josh Hart on Neesmith only because of the size. I like Nimhart could score a little bit, but I'm not worried about Andrew Nimhart like that. I'm really not. Obviously, OG's going to be guarded Pascal Siakam, and then you have Cat on Turner. But my thing is this: is that okay? Like they're going to possess some problems in the offense, and the Pacers are going to want to run. They're going to want to speed you up, and I understand that they're very
they're fast
fast
paced.
paced. But I do believe that the Knicks can slow it down. The Knicks did it last year. The Knicks have the ability to slow them down, but also the Knicks can play fast too. Not to say that they would want to, but they can if they have to. Um, they did it with Detroit. They had success when they pushed up the pace against Detroit, where you didn't give Detroit that opportunity to set their defense and play physical. The Knicks sped it up with them. Um, so they have the ability to do that. I'm looking at Indiana. I'm like, who you stopping? Miles Turner ain't stopping Karl Anthony Towns. Pascal Siakam is a good offensive player. He's not that great defensively. Tyrese Halliburton is a liability. Yeah, they're gonna put Nimhart and Neesmith. They're gonna try. Well, Nimhart gets cooked by Jalen Brunson, so I know for a fact he ain't guarding Jalen Brunson. When Neesmith, when Nimhart was guarding Jalen Brunson last, it was a field day.
Barbecue chicken.
Neesmith will be on Brunson a lot. So I like what the Knicks are gonna be able to do offensively. Rebounds, it's not gonna be a concern, but it's gonna be something to look out for. Obviously, the games where the teams that won the rebound matchup last year in the playoffs win the game. But we got Mitch. We didn't have Mitch last year. Um, I just like I like our chances. I love our chances this series, and I just think the motivating drive of last year is just too strong. But I guess you can say the same thing for Indiana because Indiana's like you beat the Knicks because the Knicks were hurt. So I guess the same could be said for Indiana.
Absolutely. And if you're Indiana fans and you're Indiana, you want to come out strong and you want to show them that hey, okay, yeah, we beat you guys as you were hurt last year, and we were this close to get into the finals last year. Now, this is your stop again, right? This is the final stop before you can get there. Can you beat the Knicks that you famously beat hurt? We'll see. Um I think Halliburton's very overrated. I think he doesn't deserve the hype that is around him. Don't get me wrong, he's a great player. I'd take him if the Knicks wanted him, but I don't think I'm not
I
gonna put him
wouldn't.
in a standard
I
where I
wouldn't.
would want him as a
I
Brunson.
wouldn't. If he's a
It
bench
depends
guy,
on
like,
the
oh,
it's
you
a
want him to
price.
come
It's
off
a
the
price
bench?
thing.
Yeah, I
Everything's
guess. But
yeah. But it's more so like it's a price thing. Like if it's like I gotta sacrifice stuff to get Halliburton, then no, I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is at the end of the day, like I can see why he's the cornerstone piece of the Pacers, and I just want to see the Knicks kill. That's what I want to see out of it. I want to see them like in this game. I got Knicks in five.
so I
In
was
this
gonna
series,
say
I
your
got Knicks in five.
predictions, but I guess you said it, and I was going the same way. I was going Knicks in 5 as well. I know a lot got Knicks in 6. I just think, I just think we kill them. I really do. I think the Knicks come out Wednesday night, Madison Square Garden, Game 1, and really take it to them. That's why I enjoyed the Knicks closing out on Friday because now you gave yourself the 4 days rest to chill. And I think, although Indiana's resting as well, I just don't think there's much of a difference as opposed to like if the Knicks would have had to win Game 7 and you're on 1 day's rest compared to Indiana resting for the entire week. I think 4 days and whatever 2 additional days that they had. I don't think it's much of a difference. Um,
Right. And these
yeah,
are athletes. Like
but
the resting isn't
I
too
have the
much of an
Knicks in
excuse
5 as
sometimes.
well. I think that the Knicks end up going 2-0. I think maybe they drop game 3, win game 4, close out in 5, head to the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999.
Real quick before we move on, I just noticed that the Joker looked like he's doing the Brunson. That's my
So
dad's
it's
joke.
funny because my brother-in-law, shout out to Freddie, he's been watching the Knicks because my niece is obviously tapped in with the Knicks. So he called us the other day and he goes, "Yeah, Brunson." Like Freddie, it's like this, not this. So he was doing the Joker. Yeah, so um Dave and I got the Knicks in 5, so yo, I'm dying, guys. Thank you for bearing with me, brother. Thank you, because wow, this is crazy. This dryness. I don't have a fever. It's just a dry, like, oh, I hate it. Um, but hopefully that's the Pacers' offense dry the whole series where the Knicks can take advantage. But we both got the Knicks in 5. Let's get into another important. Let's get into it, man. The Subway Series. I messed it up. I was gonna say let's get into another important series in New York. Let's do it, guys. So we're not having the pinstripe report nor the amazing rundown because we got the Subway Series.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
All right, y'all. The Subway Series got the two teams, the two baseball teams battling it out. Obviously, we usually each team gets their own segment, so we're gonna brush through it. Heading into the Subway Series, the Mets took 2 out of 3 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yankees did the same in Seattle. So there goes that. But brother, the game one of the 3 game set Friday was insane. I had asked you last week, does Juan Soto get booed? You said, bro, you basically said that's a dumb question because, yeah, he's going to get booed.
Right.
He got the Jose Altuve treatment in Yankee Stadium on Friday.
And I mean, at the end of the day, like people may say that this is corny, that because you know what's a page that I like to follow, but sometimes when it comes to the Yankee stuff, they really do hate. BSLR, something like that. They really love the Yankee. They really love to hate the Yankees, and they made fun of how like, well, get over it, the Yankees. Like, oh, he left you. No, it wasn't that he just left us. He left us to go to a team that just paid him more. It wasn't because he thought the Mets were really better, and we keep harping back to that. That's okay. Go get your money. If I was in the same position, I'd do the same. I don't care who pays me, just pay me. But you left a team that you just went to the World Series with, and you ended up going to it just happens to be the rival team of the town. You're gonna get booed. I'm sorry. Like, what did you think that was gonna happen? I don't know, brother. Like,
Yeah,
do you have any thoughts on
yeah,
that?
I agree. No, I agree because you have Met fans. It's like, oh, like they're trying to come at the Yankee fans because obviously the bleacher creatures had their backs turned to him when he won. He took forever, so obviously he tips his cap, and he kind of admitted it, like it was basically like a troll job because he knew he was getting booed. It wasn't more he's tipping his cap to the cheers. Um, and then obviously like when the Mets are entering the field because Yes Network didn't do a commercial like they always do. Like when the innings over a commercial, they come back, the guy's already on the field. They wanted to track and see Juan Soto and how the fans were going to react as he's running towards right field. And obviously, the bleacher creatures turn their backs to them, and then they proceed to let them hear it. Met fans were like, "Hey, trying to come at Yankee fans on how they handled it. Like, oh, we didn't do that with Jacob DeGrom, and Jacob DeGrom was with us 9 years." And I'm just like, yeah, but Jacob DeGrom also didn't go to the Yankees. If Jacob DeGrom would have signed with the Yankees, I'm pretty sure you're not coming in with welcoming arms if he comes to Citi Field wearing a Yankees uniform.
There's the same fan,
You know what I
fan base
mean? And
that
then
cheered a guy who was playing for Toronto and he hasn't even signed with you. So
yeah,
just remember
exactly.
that, fans.
But it was a great environment. I tell you this, watching it, watching both games. As the Yankees took the first game 6-2, they kind of got to Tyler Miguel um, a little bit. They really pressured him, really were patient at the plate, took advantage of areas when they had runners on. So I did like that. And then you have Carlos Rodon. Carlos Rodon pitched 5 innings, and I liked what Rodon did because sometimes Rodon can get so in the moment that sometimes he's his own enemy. He gets too pumped and he was able to compose himself and really get through 5 innings. The bullpen did a phenomenal job. We got Loizaga back. All that smoke Met fans had about Pete Alonso breaking Devin Williams. Devin Williams 1 inning of work, 3 strikeouts, struck out the side. Um, so the Yankees win 6-2, but shout outs to the Mets. The Mets are a good team. Mets bounce back. And they got a great pitching performance from their guy, Griffin Canning. And Griffin Canning just continues to play well. It was a tight game. It was 2-2 into the ninth inning where the Yankees, the Mets were able to muster up a run. But Griffin Canning, 5 2/3, he had seven hits, 2 strikeouts. 7 hits, 2 runs, 4 strikeouts. And then the Mets bullpen did their thing. Braziban, who I failed to mention, I think it was last week, a couple weeks ago, he's been really well. He's been pitching really well for them. Reed Garrett pitched well. And then when Diaz shut it down. So
And then the run comes in off the bat of somebody who we've been praising as one of the most clutch players in baseball right now, Lindor. So we're getting a better series than I thought we were going to get. I had the Mets winning them, and we'll see as the time of this recording. The Mets do play tonight at 7 p.m. on ESPN, so we'll see how that turns out playing out. But we will be tuned in, and we're going to enjoy this because at the end of the day, yes, the record matters at some point, but this is more so just this is bragging rights for New York City. This is all it really is for us, and I want to see how it plays out. I didn't get to see the first game as much. I was really tuned into the Knicks game, and I had a lot of flight issues. I was stuck in Baltimore. Unfortunately, some people, I didn't get to tell you this, but some guys actually were going into New York City from Orlando and had to go back home or found another way to get to the game because of how crazy everything was going. Some guy literally was like, "I'm going with my dad to the Subway Series," but ended up having to go back home because it was already like 6 o'clock and he had no decision, nowhere to go. You're on mute, bro.
they were going with the intent to go to the
They
game.
were going literally the
They
sole
were flying
purpose. The
in.
guy was in
Wow.
Yankee gear, and he was like, "We were gonna fly out right after the game."
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it sucks. American Airlines and LaGuardia.
Were they flying into Newark? Were you flying into
No,
Newark?
I never do that. I don't get people who do that Newark stuff because you still got to pay the expense to get into the city and all that stuff. You're stupid
Right.
if you think you're
Right.
saving money. No, it was flying into LaGuardia. They blame weather and then they blamed it on air traffic control, which they need to get it together like Newark does. So
Yeah, but like you said, as of this recording, the rubber game is as of how we record is Sunday, Mets Sunday night, and it's gonna be a good matchup. Match free, David Peterson.
mhm.
Um, it's gonna be a great matchup. Dave is gonna update it, obviously post production on who wins the series. But I'll say this: um, the way both these games were played, the excitement. Man, I really hope we get it in October.
Oof,
I hope we get it in October.
oof.
I hope we get it in October. That's all I gotta say. Um, so it's been a great series. Let's look quickly at the schedule ahead for both teams.
I'll be posting the graphic right now. Brother, you're on mute.
I know. Um, I'm trying to find it and I can't. Right here, I got it. Sorry. The power of production. Dave does have it up. So the Yankees right now, their week is pretty mid. This is a week where I think the Yankees can really take advantage. They have a 3 game set at home. against the Rangers, who's underperformed this season, followed by a trip to Colorado playing the last place embarrassing Rockies. Brother, I'll go first. I like this week for the Yankees. I tell you this. I don't want to see a 500 record this week. I want to see at worst 2 out of 3. I'm gonna go 2 out of 3 against Texas at home, and I'm gonna go a clean sweep against the Rockies.
You know, it's funny, right? When it comes to these like predictions with baseball, we're gonna get stagnant after the after the Knicks playoff stuff is done because we're gonna have to do our predictions so we can do our bet for the public subs. And I'm just gonna repeat what you're saying some of the time because at the end of the day, this is the record that I'm seeing. Like, I don't see us losing that series against the Texas Rangers and Colorado. I mean, I think I think the whole team has to collapse if we lose against them. So I got the same record. I got 2-3 against the Rangers, and then we sweep in Colorado.
Now we have the Mets, and the Mets got an interesting week. The Mets have an exciting week, and I'm gonna be tapped in with the Mets. The Mets open up a 3 game set with the Red Sox at Boston. Go Mets, go Mets. Followed by a big 3 game set uh, against the Dodgers. I believe the first game's on Apple TV. The first that Friday Night Baseball.
Yep,
So
yep.
yeah, so for those that don't have it, that's gonna
And it's
kind of suck.
it's looking
I
like
don't think I don't
sorry, it's looking like
I don't
Canning
have
versus
Apple TV.
Kershaw.
Ooh, yeah, they're gonna smoke Kershaw. Um, the Mets got an interesting week. I think the Mets easily take 2 out of 3 against Boston, and man, with the Dodgers, you know what? I got the Mets winning 2 out of 3. They're gonna be at the crib. If this was in Dodger Stadium, I would have went Dodgers 2 out of 3.
This is at
I'm going Mets
this
two
is
out
at
of
Los
three.
Angeles, bro.
No, the Dodgers
Oh,
Mets series
sorry,
is in
I'm
New
looking ahead. I'm
Mets.
looking a few weeks ahead.
It's in
My bad.
City. It's in City. So I'm picking Mets 2 out of 3 both series.
Yeah, same record, bro. It's not even. I'm not trying to cop out. It's just this is what I'm feeling.
Sounds like a cop out of me. All right. um. Speaking of, and I forgot to mention this, brother. During when we were talking about the Knicks, and you had mentioned that the Knicks were locked in, and I wanna and I was gonna add this. Speaking of locked in, do you know that Brunson and a few of the Knicks players partied with Timothy Chalamet and Russell Wilson and all of them after the win
Yeah,
on game 6,
they didn't
and they
partake.
didn't take an ounce of alcohol.
Nope.
Like it has it. They're locked in, and that's in quotation. Like they're locked in.
Just some
It
celebratory
was
champagne. That's it.
Brunson, Towns, Ananobi, Deuce, Hart, Bridges, and others were there. You can see that there's pictures of them there. And the Knicks turned down free bottles of champagne while celebrating their series win over Boston. So shout outs to the Knicks, man. They're locked in. They have the Kobe job not finished. But as Knicks fans, we should celebrate it. It's been a great weekend for New York. No matter who you root for, it's been a very great weekend for New York. Um, oh man, you know what's the funny part? We'll bring it up. We'll bring it up on quick hits. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. This is quick hits. This is where we cover everything around the globe. The hits are so quick, you don't see it coming, brother. Call it lucky or fixed. We learned this week that the Dallas Mavericks drew lucky number 1 for the upcoming NBA draft, therefore giving the Mavs the opportunity to select Duke standout and the projected number 1 pick, Cooper Flag. Brother, did the NBA throw the Mavs a bone on this one?
Absolutely. Just absolutely. I'm sorry that like this is one of those things that I and it just What are the odds? First of all, I think the percentage for them to get the number one pick was like below 5. That was number one. Two, what a coincidence. I got rid of Luca, and I happened to get the best projected player to come out of the coming out of college in some time. Like, I'm sorry, the NBA did Nico a favor because that man was getting ready. Like, there were pitchforks outside of his home. And right now, everything looks great. And we can see that, yes, Luca is a liability on defense, and that's what Nico wanted to improve on. And that's why he made the trade for Anthony Davis. But, bro, the fix was in. The fix was in. And I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do to convince me. When LeBron left and they ended up getting Kyrie on the Cavs, we can tell that the fix was in. We just, like, this is not this is an occurrence that we've seen time and time again. I'm over the lottery.
Yeah,
I'm over it. The lottery makes no sense to me, and it's stupid.
I wouldn't go that far. I like the lottery because um, it keeps teams from sort of like really just mailing it in and taking it, like Utah, where Utah is like it shows like okay, you keep tanking and because of the lottery, you're not getting the number one pick. But I will say this: the NBA did themselves no favors with this one. This one was so blatant. Obviously, we touched on it a few weeks ago, where we reminded the viewers, we informed the viewers about the theory about the frozen envelope when it came to Patrick Ewing being drafted by the New York Knicks. Patrick Ewing. Obviously, you touched on it, brother. The LeBron James leaving, and then coincidentally, Cleveland gets the number one pick. They were able to draft Kyrie Irving. I'll take it back even further. The Cleveland Cavaliers getting the number one pick in the LeBron James draft. LeBron James being from Akron, being not that far from Cleveland. You can go with Derrick Rose, Chicago, getting the number one pick, getting the hometown kid. Anthony Davis getting traded from New Orleans to LA. All of a sudden, New Orleans gets the number one pick that has the ability to draft Zion Williamson. And it doesn't help when you got guys like LeBron who went on a few weeks ago to Pat McAfee show, kind of alluded that he thinks it's a sham. So, like I said, they did themselves no favors. I agree with you 1,000%. This was fixed,
Right.
and the NBA definitely threw Nico a bone.
Yeah.
They threw him was it a life raft? Because my man was deep in the sea.
The only thing is
They threw him a life
you
raft.
only get one of those, Nico. Just remember that. You only get one of those. All right, bro, let's move it over to baseball. The Baltimore Orioles fired their manager, Brandon Hyde, after a slow 15-28 start to the season. Was this firing premature or deserved?
I'm gonna be honest, man. You gotta see. It sucks because what's the first thing in all sports when things aren't going well? Fire the coach or you fire the manager. A lot of expectations for this Baltimore squad. They have the young guys, um, and they just haven't played to their standard. I wouldn't say potential because they're a team where their guys aren't now. But they haven't played to their standards. They got to shake up something. And the Yankees aren't slowing down. So, as we said, can't win the division in April, in May, but you can definitely lose it. So they're trying to salvage their season now. So I think the firing was not deserved. You never want to say somebody deserved to get fired. You never want to see somebody lose their job. However, I think it was the right move for the Baltimore Orioles right now. Um, let's keep it with baseball, brother, as it was announced this week that the MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred removed Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson, and other deceased players from the Major League Baseball's permanently ineligible list. MLB's punishment uh, of banned individual ends upon that individual's death. They are now presumably eligible for election into the Baseball Hall of Fame, especially in the case of Pete Rose. Brother, is this a better late than never, or just straight up just too late?
I think it's too late, and it's one of those. It's a string of bad decisions made by Manfred that just keeps on just like this should have been resolved already. Pete Rose should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago, and this is one of those things. And there are other players on this list, but they clearly were ineligible for a reason. The problem that I have with it is that Who's sponsoring MLB in all these games? DraftKings and Hard Rock and all these other places that gamble. So how come is it that you have a problem with this, but and I get it, you don't want to have the integrity of your game being questioned by players and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Pete Rose wasn't picking them to lose. He was picking them to win.
And I was just gonna say that, brother. I'm like, okay, I get that. The integrity game, the betting, I understand that. But it's not like he was throwing the games.
Yeah,
He was just he was betting on them to win when he was the player manager with the Cincinnati Reds. I agree with you. This gave
too
me
late.
very WWE Hall of Fame vibes.
Too late. A little too late.
When WWE waits for a guy to die and then they want to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So
Especially if there was a bad standing
definitely,
at the end of their career and stuff. Yeah. Like China.
definitely too late. Yeah, exactly. Nailed it. Macho Man. A lot of those people like that, where they could have been in, they were alive. It's not like they were inactive, so you can't give me the excuse that they were active. They were inactive for a few years. You could easily put them in. That's what this gave me. Very much like how WWE treats their Hall of Fame. So
Yeah.
whatever.
All right, brother, let's switch gears to football as it's coming up soon. The NFL schedules were leaked and then officially released this week. So and the New York Giants have a toughest schedule, strength of schedule in the 2025 NFL season, while the Jets are smack in the middle with the 16th toughest schedule. Which of these New York teams have a better chance of making the playoffs?
I would like to say the Giants, but I just don't. I don't. I don't. We're just in a tough division. The schedule's brutal, brother. Looking at the schedule, um, we're gonna go 0-5 before the balls even snapped. Like it's ridiculous. We opened the season against Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers. Like we're going 0-4, and then we get the Saints. So I'm gonna go with the Jets. I think the Jets already had a good team. Now, obviously, Fields, I have no idea where that goes. But the question is, who has the better chance of the New York teams? I'm gonna go with the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a Jets fan. Everyone knows me as the number one the Jets hater, even if we are a New York show. But that division is up for grabs as far as a wild card because you have the Bills and the Bills are clear cut favorites. They will probably win the division, but you have Miami that's in a skid, and I think Tua is one hit away from just being retired. Um, and the Patriots have a lot to improve on our end. So honestly, the Jets it's up for grabs, especially if Justin Fields does click with the rest of that team. Um, but I would say yeah, the Jets have a better chance of making it in as far as they go. Um, yeah.
Yeah, so let's keep it with football, brother. The 49ers, they make Brock Purdy their guy officially as Brock and the Niners agree to a new deal. The deal includes 53 million per year, 181 in guarantees, 55 in new money average over the first 3 years. Brother, was this the right move for the Niners?
What were their choices? Honestly, there's nothing that they can do. Like at this point, they didn't draft anybody that's relevant enough to be a quarterback. Um, there's nobody available on the market right now to go, and nobody wants to touch Aaron Rodgers with a 10-foot pole. So, what were your choices? Now, don't get me wrong. I think they're very much similar into the position that the Giants were with Daniel Jones, where this is your guy, so you just have to pay him. Unfortunately, I don't think this applies to the same thing because the Giants ended up doing something with Saquon that also just gets to really scrutinized. This is where the money is also with quarterbacks. So I guess they just made the right move for them at this time. Mr. Irrelevant and now is relevant, and now he doesn't have to sleep on somebody's couch anymore or something. I think that was the story when it was coming out. So they made the right move for them, but I don't think Brock Purdy's that good. But this is where the league is when it comes to quarterbacks. They get paid.
I'm over the conversation of, oh, he got overpaid, bro. Every quarter, like you said it, brother, every quarterback gets paid in the NFL.
Right. Whether you're good or bad, you just get
And
paid.
as you said, what was their better options? They're not a team that, like, I get it. They lost a few pieces. They traded Debo Samuels over the offseason, but they still have a core of guys that they need to win now with. You still have McCaffrey. You still have Ayuk. You know what I mean? You still have Kittle. Like, you still have guys that this is not like a rebuild. This is not, this is more like a retool. So Who else was a better option?
right? All right, so Chris, let's switch it over back to basketball. So Chris Haynes over the weekend stated that the Bucks made contact with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Oof, I said that's so nice. And now a very crucial meeting is being scheduled for next week. Is it smart for the Bucks and Giannis to finally part ways?
Yeah, if you want to maximize what you can get for him, the Damian Lillard injury just, it wasn't going well. Let's just put it like that. The pairing wasn't going well. They haven't had much success. Haven't played much in the playoffs together. Giannis is still at his prime. I understand that Giannis is an intricate part in the city of Milwaukee, and he's basically built that stadium that they're in, that arena they're in, built the whole city that surrounds it. Um, but I think for both people to win, they must do the deal now. Where do it now, where um, you can maximize uh your assets back for Giannis, and yeah, why not? Why not jump the gun and especially before the draft, as we touched on. Dallas has the number one pick. Maybe you give Dallas a call. Hey, Giannis is available. Maybe you can flip that for a number one pick. Maybe you can get that in Anthony Davis, and you kind of kill two birds with one stone. You got a star that that can sell tickets with Anthony Davis, and then you got the rookie, you got the future of Cooper Flag. So I think it's right timing, to be honest, for Milwaukee and Giannis to start meeting now so they can be on the same page of where they want to be.
Right, you have Giannis, and who is honestly he's one of the top five best players in the world, maybe top three. So why not make that move and get him right now? And then, mind you, he's not a liability. He can play defense and he can play offense. So the guy is amazing. I mean, if the Knicks have a chance, because they always throw the Knicks in everything, as they always do, if the Knicks have a chance to get him, Knicks, whatever you got to do, get him as long as Jalen Brunson says. You can ship out Cat if you want, but but
I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of with you on that. I ain't
Uh,
arguing that.
as long as Brunson stays, get rid of the farm if you have to. But every team's going to be in the runnings right now. They're saying Golden State's part of that. They're saying Miami's a part of that. Everybody's in the runnings for the Giannis sweepstakes. So I think that's the right move for them to do, and hopefully we'll see what that plays out like. Let's see.
I think if Nico wants to turn the frowns upside down, I think getting Giannis,
Giannis with Kyrie.
because now you look at that.
Ooh,
Now you look at that much different. Because now you're looking at it like, okay, we traded Giannis. I mean, we traded Luca, but we flipped Luca into Giannis.
and I'm saying Giannis with Kyrie. Oof, oof.
That's looked at very different. That trade is looked at very different at that point.
All right, brother. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah. So lastly, the New York Liberty. Shout outs to my girls. They rose their championship banner and received their championship rings over the weekend in their 92-78 opening day victory over the Las Vegas Aces. That could be a preview of the WNBA finals. Uh Brother, what's your thoughts on that? On the New Liberty's bling? Because I seen them rings. They look good.
I love him, bro. And this is something we actually got called out on. Over the TikTok, somebody had said that, oh, is there any love getting shown to the Liberty because they won a championship for New York? And we love the Liberty here. We are big supporters. Omar has been on record many times saying that he supports the WNBA because he also has a niece that he wants to, show as an example. Like, these are the girls you want to follow. These are the things you should look up to. And the girls brought a championship to New York, which hasn't been done in quite some times at this point. So we love the Liberty here in this on the ozone, and the ring is beautiful. I'm showing it right now. I like it. I have no problem.
Yeah, it honestly, like, it literally looks like every NBA championship ring. It doesn't lack anything.
Nope.
It does not lack anything. And there are billionaires that own I was gonna say the New Jersey Liberty, the New York Liberty, because the same owners of the Liberty are who owns the Brooklyn Nets, the Tsai family. So spend your money on that, because you ain't never gonna have to spend it on the Brooklyn Nets. That's for sure. Uh, Yeah, but brother, before we get into the highlight of the week, this is like an impromptu, the WNBA season as well. Did you see Caitlin Clark and oh man, and Angel Reese, their little friction over the
I saw
weekend?
it and I love it. I mean, I love the rivalry. This is the things that
Yeah, I did too. I
it
did
draws
too.
eyes to the WNBA. And don't get me wrong, like for the most part, right? Angel Reese seems to be on the bad side of this rivalry, right? She's always looked at wrong, and maybe the girl has to improve her game a little bit before she can be as popular as she is. But hey, get your money while you can too, girl. Um, but I'm a fan of the rivalry. Like, just make it a thing. I mean, unfortunately, they're gonna be paired up as long as they're in the league together and they're still playing. So let's make it fun at least. And it was a good foul. I think Caitlin Clark did the right thing in that position because why would you let them get a score?
Right. And I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that. Like I think Angel Reese kind of over exaggerated a little bit. That is a normal and they gave her a flagrant for that, which I disagree with. That's a normal foul you see in every game. You're not letting them get the layup. I'll say this. I watched that game and Angel Reese, and this is not to attack you or whatever. I think she's overrated. I think that whole scenario is her trying to play into their rivalry. Um, but I didn't see anything new in her game. And man, this could be game one. I could, obviously I can be, I don't wanna jump the gun. But I'm just saying I saw nothing new in her game that I didn't see last year. And that's something that I always look at in every sport. Every sport. I want to be able to look at, I should be able to because you had a whole off season. I should be able to look at a game one and go, whoa, I never seen that before. Oh, okay, like their jumper looks a little bit more improved or whatever. I didn't see that with her. She was still missing clear layups, basically stat stuff for her rebounds because she's just missing wide open layups. So I haven't seen anything new on her, but hopefully that changes. But I'm with you on that. I'm all for whatever gets the game of WNBA bigger and badder and stuff like that. So
Right.
shout outs to them.
Less
So
podcast, girl, because there's one thing I can't
yeah,
stand.
let's podcast. Don't listen to Paul George. You saw Paul George now. He's like, oh, I'm going back to my podcast. Yeah, go ahead and continue to win like 13 games.
Right. I don't know. It's something, and I'll keep on preaching this, and I will say it until my face is blue. I'm tired of players having podcasts and then not performing. I'm not a biggest fan of Jalen Brunson and Hart having one, but they've been balling, so keep
Yeah.
continue to do that. But when you have people like Marka Parson, who is a stud, by the way, but he just comes off wrong when he comes on his podcast.
You know who's gonna have a lot of time to podcast? Draymond Green. Ha! We gonna win the championship. He's like, I think we're gonna win the championship. You know what? No, we gonna win the championship. No, you're not. You know what you're gonna win? You're gonna win yourself a pina colada in Cancun, sitting right next to Jalen Brown. That's what you're gonna be doing. How about that? Yeah. So,
Let's wrap it
brother,
up. Let's wrap it up.
we can't wrap it up. We can't wrap it up without sharing the highlight of the week. So
My
let's get
bad.
into it.
He's on fire!
All right, guys, it is time for the highlight of the week. And I mean, sir, there's been bias when coming to the decision making of me and Omar when it comes to deciding the highlight of the week for the last 3 weeks in a row. It is our New York Knicks. And I mean, come on. Can you blame us? Can you blame us? Really? New
Bro,
York is on fire.
we are a sucker. We are a sucker for plays that impact both sides of the court.
Okay.
And that's what this play is. You got Deuce McBride. And mind you, I battled between the Mitchell Robinson guarding all five players. Like we battled. That was playing it close. Like the Mitchell Robinson getting to all five players, closing out on Jalen Brown. That led to the fancy finger roll layup by Carl Anthony Towns. But I felt like this play right here, Deuce McBride with the LeBron James behind the trailing block on Derek White, timed it beautifully where it wasn't a goaltend, did not hit the glass. He timed it very beautifully. That led to the and one by Josh Hart to eventually put the lead to 20. The garden was shaking. The garden was wild. Oh, man. The Knicks are in the Eastern Conference. Thank you, New York, for making that game so easy to watch. It was so relaxed. We didn't have to be so tense. You came in and you killed. And that play, to me, just ignited everything that we just knew. Like, okay, Knicks ain't blowing this lead. and we're putting them to bed, and we're going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep.
So Deuce, Josh Hart, and the New York Knicks, you have the highlight of the week this week. So, and we make the rules. So if you don't like it,
Watch another show.
let us know in the let us know in the comments below. Let us know in the comments below, like what you thought could have been.
I'm a little more spicier. Go watch another show
guys,
if you're tired of this.
Yeah, that too. But make sure you hit the thumbs up before you do that. Guys, I just want to thank you guys so much. Brother, thank you for bearing with me right now while I'm under the weather doing this episode.
Oh, good, bro.
But as Bane said, we do it for you,
The
for
people.
people. Hopefully I'm better next week. I would hope so. I've been dealing with this since I've returned from New York, so it's been roughly about a week. Hopefully by the time this episode airs, now I should be perfectly fine. I'm getting out of it. It's just I have this dry cough. But guys, there's ways to show us some more love, and we just thank you guys, and that's following us on all our platforms. We're available on Instagram, Threads, Twitter, and TikTok. We're starting to boom on TikTok. Shout outs to you, brother, making that short. We're starting to boom on TikTok, so we thank you guys a lot for showing us some love on our TikTok page. As Dave touched on, he's gonna be on site game one of the ECF Eastern Conference Finals. So the Ozone are going to be having a lot more fire content coming up this week. And guys, we have special programming note. Next week's episode will be on Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday at 5 p.m. And we're only doing that because we want to be able to cover all three games and preview game 4 of the Eastern Conference. As you guys know, Dave put it right now on the screen if you can. The Knicks schedule. The Knicks play Wednesday, game 1. Game 5 is Friday. And then we record on Sundays, as you guys know, because we were very transparent with you guys. We record on Sundays. However, that's going to be game 3. We don't want to have an episode out while we already know the results of game 3. So in order to really tap into this series and really just speak our, get our thoughts to you guys, we're going to have the episode move from Monday to Tuesday next week. So we're going to have a brand new episode next Tuesday at 5 p.m. where, we deliver the fire.
This is
It's been
more than a
love.
podcast.
Go Knicks.
It's a sports throne. Let's
Peace.
kick it off right. Welcome to the Ozone.